session from this point on. And so we have now decided that for the first page, the Constitution page, we will leave it. Hold on here. We will leave it as the CCCFLC, California Community Colleges Foreign Language Council. Now we're going to look at the second page. I'm trying to see if.
But we're going to take out the of Southern California, aren't we?
Yes, we do have to take out the of Southern California. So let me go ahead and change that, because that has to. Yeah, we want it to be as general as possible.
Inclusive.
As inclusive as possible. That is correct. So I'm going to change that on my computer right now.
Yeah. Okay. So you're going to make these changes on your
on my computer.
On our version here, or
I'm going to
download it.
What I'm trying to do is make the changes on my computer and then upload it so that we can see those.
Okay.
Okay. So I just made that change.
If you have trouble uploading it, then just at the very end, can't you email it to us?
Yes, I will definitely do that. But in the meantime, you should be able to see. I'm trying to do this now.
Everything is paused.
Yeah, it's written. Okay, now it should. Can you see the absence of Southern California? Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay, so now it looks changed, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
I'm on the first page. I can't see the second page.
Okay, you're on the first page.
Now it's fine.
This is the second page. So this should look changed, right? In other words, what you're looking at now, does it say Article 1?
Yes.
Yes, Article 1, name of the organization.
Yes, name of the organization.
You no longer see of Southern California, correct?
Correct.
Right.
Okay. So now let's go to Article 2, purpose of the organization.
Now I just made this up, so you can change it in whatever way you want.
Okay, so what do the rest of you feel about this page and how we can make it even better, if possible?
Southern California.
Well, eventually, if we change the name of the organization, we're going to have to change that to Modern Language Teachers or World Language Teachers, and we also need to take out Southern.
Okay, so I am taking out in Southern California on my computer. You're not going to see my changes until I upload them, but
Okay.
I think we can
change foreign to modern. Okay.
Yeah,
you can
to
change what now?
Modern Language Teachers.
Okay.
Okay, so we can change, so instead of foreign language teachers, modern language teachers?
Yeah.
Okay,
That
modern.
could be a good change.
That's
Okay,
fine.
so what I have now is the purpose of the organization is to promote collaboration between community,
and take out
college,
Southern.
modern language teachers, and foster professional development through conferences and training opportunities. So I have removed Southern California.
You can leave in California, just take out Southern.
You take out
take out Southern.
Okay, so it'll be
picky point, should it be among instead of between?
I think well I think that sounds better, but what do the rest of you think?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's see, modern college. Okay, so what I have now is the purpose of the organization is to promote collaboration among community college modern language teachers in California and foster professional development through conferences and training opportunities. Does that sound right?
You can take out extra spaces if you want as well, Kurt.
Sorry, can I make it?
Space.
Okay.
Do you see the two extra spaces?
Yeah, I'm trying to change
collaboration in between, and between California and extra spaces.
Oh, you have space. Oh, I see.
and again, through and conferences.
Okay, let me.
Can I recommend something?
Yes.
Can I recommend that we change modern language teachers to modern language educators?
Oh, I like that.
Educators, okay.
Okay. How do the rest of you feel about that change?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, so I am changing that on my personal computer right now. You can't see what I'm doing, but I've changed it to modern language educators in California.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, what I'm going to do now is upload what I have so far. And let's see here. Okay, it's going to take a second. You're going to see. What do you see on the screen right now?
Same as before.
Same as before.
So, on my screen, it's generating the images. It's uploading it. It'll be ready in a second.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sure there's a little delay.
There's a little bit of delay between you and me. Okay, so now
It's changed it.
hold on. I gotta find.
Okay.
Yeah, hold on. All right, I'm gonna find exactly what page I'm on here. Article 1. It should be Article 1, right?
There you go.
Okay, so does that look right?
Beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous.
okay, so now we're going to move to Article 3, which is membership.
I'm sorry, guys. Can I make one more possible suggestion? Going back.
Go right ahead.
Sorry. What about instead of promote collaboration among community college modern language educators in California, we say promote a collaboration among modern language educators in the community, in the California community colleges.
Ah, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
You're focusing on the community colleges as compared to any level of college, which is true. That's what our organization is all about. That's our focus. So let me go ahead. So could you dictate to that to me again here while I'm on my personal computer?
Move community college, get rid of that and put it after California community colleges.
Okay, so move community college. I'm removing that and then put it after.
Put in, instead of in California, put it in the California community colleges. I think that works.
Okay, in the California community colleges. Okay, so I'm working on this now.
And I'm interested in feedback, guys. Does that work for you?
Yeah, it's a nicer plain sentence.
Okay,
yeah, I think that's good.
I think so too.
I'm going to upload this once again. And let's see here. As you know, it takes a minute for it to upload. But once it does, we'll be able to check it out one last time, or however many times we need. Okay, so let me find. Okay, what does that look like?
Same.
Okay,
Yeah,
hold on.
that's the same.
Okay, wait. How about now?
There you go.
Okay.
Is that better?
Good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so is that where we want it to be?
Yes.
Yeah. Now you might want to. You don't have to do this right now, but take out the space between through and conferences.
Between. Okay, let me find it. Oh yeah, you're right. Let me do that on my personal computer. Okay, right there. So that change is done on my personal computer. So when I email this to you at the very end of it all, that change will be reflected.
Okay.
All right. So now we look at membership. What do you guys think about this? Section 1, voting membership is open to any full or part-time foreign language faculty member at a Southern California community college.
We take up Southern.
Modern language.
Yeah, modern language faculty.
Okay.
Yeah, modern language and take out Southern, and it's probably good. And we need a period.
Southern. And
Okay,
also, I think membership should not be capitalized.
No,
Voting.
that looks
No,
kind of
that's
funny
true.
to me too. Okay, so I'm going to change that on my personal computer. Membership is now small on my computer, and then instead of foreign language, what we're saying modern language, modern language faculty, and I'm going to take out Southern.
And we need a period, don't we?
A period. I think we do need a period at the end. I put that on my document.
Okay.
Okay, so what I have now is voting membership is open to any full or part-time modern language faculty member at a California community college.
S.
Say it again, member, any full or part-time faculty members.
No,
Oh,
it
you're
should
right.
say single because you have any.
Any, that's right. Yeah,
Oh,
any
any full or part-time
language faculty
member at a California community college, period. Okay. Now, do we need a hyphen between part and time?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
Okay, let me put
Is anyone there?
I'm here.
We're all here.
We're all here.
Technically,
David.
technically, you would put a hyphen after full, wouldn't you? Full dash or part dash time faculty.
That looks funny to my eye to see a hyphen after full with or coming after it, but what do the rest of you think?
I wouldn't put a hyphen after full if the word time isn't following it immediately.
Yeah.
Really?
To make it work. Any full-time or part-time, and that way it's consistent, and we have it with the hyphen.
Yeah, hyphen.
Yeah, you could say full-time. It's open to any full-time or part-time.
Okay, so we want this
Modern
to
language
be
faculty member.
full-time or part-time. So what I did is I put a hyphen between full and time, and then a hyphen between part and time. So what I have now is voting membership is open to any full-time with a hyphen between full and time, or part-time with a hyphen between part and time, modern language faculty member at a California community college, period.
Perfect.
Okay, and then section 2, dues shall be determined by active voting membership on an annual basis. Now that's something that Tom had when he was the executive director. I have chosen not to have dues and simply focus on asking people to contribute enough to cover all of the expenses for each conference rather than have dues. How do the rest of you feel about this issue?
How will you determine, how will you ask for the money? I mean,
Well,
what if
do you
nobody
remember,
offers anything?
Lynn, were you at last year's conference?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember the way in which you were contacted and the way in which you paid for the conference fee that included the food? I mean, that would be the way in which people would be contacted.
Yeah, it was the $35 and then I think, right?
Yeah, and that included the food.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's
So
that's
it's a conference fee then, rather than a membership thing.
yes, and so because
I like
of
that. I like that
do.
the people who can't attend the conference aren't having to pay.
Yeah,
and
those that for
and
some
it might
reason or
get
another
more
can't
membership.
make it, don't pay. You only pay if you make it to the conference.
I like
That's
that.
right. And we
With
get my
that,
participation.
But once
Since we have a little bit of since we have a little bit of money in the bank, we can use that money in the current year, and then whatever fees, whatever conference fees are paid at the conference is put aside for the following year. Is that the idea?
Yeah, the idea is that all of you received an email from me about a week ago where I stated how much we have in the bank account.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember the exact amount. I think it was like around $4,000 or something.
Something like that. Right.
That is more than enough to keep us going, even if we happen to have a conference with less than ideal response and people paying for it. Because the main conference fee is the food.
Right.
There are a few other things, drinks and things like that, and tea and whatever else. But if we have very few people who sign up for it, then we have very little expense for food. So the idea is for it to pay for itself through the conference.
I like that idea.
I like it too.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, all right. So what I'm going to do then on my computer is I'm going to maybe remove Section 2 altogether or make some kind of a statement about fees. I don't know, will only be conference fees, or what would you suggest?
Well, I think you couldn't you leave it in, and then at every conference make sure that there's a short business meeting, at which time the membership is asked to kind of renew the idea of not having dues, or depending on the circumstances, maybe there would be consideration of having dues. But you can leave that statement in and just start out with no dues.
Okay, so dues shall be determined by active voting members on an annual basis.
I don't think we need to leave that statement in at all. I think we could take it out, remove it, so do it as you're suggesting through a conference fee, and then if later on we realize that no, we need dues, we're not covering our costs, then we can make an amendment.
Well, the only problem is at later we're going to have to talk about how do you make an amendment to the Constitution, but typically it'll involve ratification by more than 2/3 of the active membership. And if your active membership is any full or part-time foreign language faculty member, then you're caught in a bind. You can't make changes.
Oh.
Yeah, I hear that point. Mary Ellen, you're with us? I see
Mary
that Mary Ellen.
Yeah,
okay.
It just said you joined.
Yeah. So I hear that point about about the way we define membership and voting membership, especially, because one thing is membership, but another thing is voting membership. So another tack to take would be to say that voting membership with respect to amendments would be the officers, would be limited to the officers of the organization.
Or you could say that it's limited to that voting would take place at conferences. I mean, there is a problem with Section 1 that if you're well, it's open. Yeah, no, I think it's problematic actually.
Okay, so maybe we should try to make it as least problematic as possible.
Let's say membership is open. Get rid of the word voting there.
Okay, so get rid of the word voting. Okay, I'm doing that right now.
Yeah.
And then what we can say when we talk about voting is we can say we might determine, for example, that voting takes place at the conference and we allow or we do not allow proxy voting.
Okay, so membership is open to any full-time or part-time modern language faculty member present at a...
No, I'm sorry. Let me interrupt you, Kurt. There's a difference between membership and voting rights. So what we're saying is everybody, membership can be, as long as you are a full or part-time faculty member at a California community college, you are able to be a member.
Okay.
I don't think you need to talk about voting in this article.
Okay. All right. Because this is just membership. The title of this is membership,
Right.
not voting membership. So we could create a new article that would be called voting membership.
Well, you could, but often voting is covered in bylaws.
Okay. All right. So.
Well, let me double check that. But yeah, you could say that voting is what you have to determine what kinds of things will be voted on and when will they be voted on.
Yeah, what kind of things we voted on and when will they be voted on? So, how do we specify what kinds of things will be voted on?
Well, you don't have to specify it. I mean, you have to think about it in terms of how you want to determine voting. Like, you might determine that the types of things that will actually be voted on, not decided by executive board, but things that would be voted on, which would be things like changes to the Constitution or bylaws, that maybe you determine those kind of votes will only happen at conferences, so you have to be present at the conference to vote. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Or are you envisioning a thing where you might ask people to vote from via electronic vote, which is very different?
Yeah, I think, yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I can see that we may be opening kind of a can of worms if we have proxy voting. Those people that show up at the conferences have priority, in my opinion.
I think so too.
Because since there's no dues to pay, anyone who doesn't even go to the conferences could vote if we didn't have that. Somebody who never went to a conference could vote unless we said they have to be at the conference.
Yeah, see, I think in the Constitution, what you're really establishing is the name and the purpose of the organization, and then all of the rules of how it's going to function, I think, really show up in the bylaws. But you do want to include within your Constitution always how are you going to amend the Constitution if you are going to amend it.
Okay. All right, so we need to have bylaws at the end of it, which is not necessarily reflected in this sample Constitution from the French Club, but we could add those. That's not a problem. Okay.
And that's where you might talk about voting and stuff like that.
Okay, so here we're just talking about membership. Who is a member? Membership is open to any full-time or part-time modern language faculty member at a community college who attends our conference. What do you think of that?
How would you define that in the Constitution?
Well, this is what we're trying to define right now, is who is a member? Is a member somebody who shows up to our conferences, or somebody who has never been to a conference and never will be at a conference?
Good question.
It is a good question.
Well, what we could say is that membership is open to this particular group, and when we actually talk about membership, we could develop a process for becoming a member, which might be simply contacting somebody, whether it's the executive director or signing up via the website. That we might say all people who want to be members have to complete a membership, what do you call that, like a registration form, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So that we know to add them to the list, basically.
So membership is open to these particular individuals who register for membership for one of our, let's see, how are we going to word this?
Well, there's two separate things. One is membership being open to a particular group. Like this statement in my mind seems to define the people who are eligible to become members.
Mm-hmm.
A different thing is, how do you become a member? Do you know what I mean?
All right, all right. So here, maybe we should say, instead of open, we should say eligible.
Right, okay. I think, well, I don't know what the rest of you think, but I think this is just basically stating these are the people who could be members.
Okay, all right, so we have
but
that.
It doesn't say, and then I don't think in the Constitution you need to determine how do you become a member. I think that would be something that might show up in a different place. Like you might have in the bylaws, the executive board will create a process that so that all those who are eligible to become members can become members. But you don't even have to specify to that extent how you're going to become a member, do you? I'm asking a question. I don't know.
I don't know. Can we just say membership is open to any full-time or part-time modern language faculty at a California community college? Is that enough?
I think that's enough.
I like to keep it simple.
I think that's enough.
Yeah, I'm all for simplicity. Hemingway's
okay.
way.
So as far as being open, that sounds about right to me because it describes who we have in our membership.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Now, for section 2 that says dues shall be determined, I would like to change that to dues shall be determined by the executive board on an annual basis.
Okay, that leaves it open for just change.
I like that.
Because that takes away the whole issue of are the members at the conference going to determine how much the dues shall be? And by the way, dues, I mean, we could say dues and conference costs, conference fees shall be determined.
I don't think you need to include conference fees in this.
Why would we not need to mention conference fees? Because that would be understood or not?
Because I think that the Constitution should really be a very, it has a really limited function. It really talks about the, it defines and gives the scope of the organization, but it doesn't get into details like that.
Okay.
There's nothing, in the function, we already talked about that, one of the goals is to promote collaboration, ideally through conferences, but it doesn't even say you have to have a conference. That is the goal of the organization, but that you don't go that far in the organization. In the Constitution. You might, in the bylaws, you might say something like, there will be at least one conference a year and it will take place. If you want to get very specific about it, you can do that, but that's more a bylaw type thing.
Okay. So what about the idea of having a section 2 that says dues shall be determined by the executive board on an annual basis? Is that something that is appropriate to be here under membership, or is it best to be in some other area?
I think it sounds good.
Yeah, I agree with Adrienne, and I would actually just change the name of the article to membership and dues.
Okay, let me go ahead and change that now on my computer. Membership and dues. Would you capitalize dues?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so that's what I just did on my computer. You can't see it. And I changed, so let me read what I have so far. Article 3, membership and dues. Section 1. Membership is open to any full-time or part-time modern language faculty member at a California community college. Section 2. Dues shall be determined by the executive board on an annual basis.
Perfect.
Okay.
I like that. Can I just throw in a quick little wrench?
Yeah.
What if you have somebody, and this particularly would affect part-time instructors, who is not currently employed? I don't think any of us would want to exclude that person.
Or we're retired.
Right. And so
there's nothing here that says employed. It just says full or part-time. They could be unemployed part-time instructors. I think it's open enough to leave them in there.
You think so?
Yeah. We don't need to specify.
Yeah, I think it's open enough to include them. Yeah, I don't see any problem there. And we're certainly not going to exclude anybody because they're retired or unemployed or on leave.
I mean, for that matter, what about during summer vacation? It's fine. We're all full-time or part-time instructors, whether or not we're working.
And even if you're retired, you're still an emeritus member of the faculty.
Right, you're right.
I think this is open enough.
I think so too. Is that a consensus?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, good. All right, shall we look at Article 4 before our time runs out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me switch over. Okay, let me go down to Article 4, if I can find it. Is there an Article 4? Yes, there is. Okay. That's officers of the organization. So here, we may not get through this before our time is up. It doesn't look like we will. But, Lynn, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, we need to figure out what we're going to call you because I would love to have you be one of the officers. But we have to get a title for you. So historian, I mean, is the one that jumps out at me as lending itself to this, but I don't know if that's appropriate for our organization. What do you guys think?
What would be the historian?
Well, if you look down at the description of the historian, will document any and all special activities that the organization engages in, will advise and assist the organization in using these events.
PR?
I mean, I don't know that that really applies to us so much.
Yeah, maybe.
I had an idea because I combined secretary and treasurer, and I separated web designer and historian. So what about making the secretary's function something different?
About having a separate secretary and a separate treasurer?
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah, I would.
Denise?
Huh? I agree that secretary and treasurer I would keep separate.
Okay.
I would say treasurer is probably a big enough job.
Historians go well together because the secretary is the one to keep records.
What do you think about web designer and historian? Should they be separate?
Hold on. Adrian, what did you say?
I was trying to say that I think secretary and historian go well together because the secretary is the one to keep records and the historian is the one to keep records. So that should be somehow under one title.
Right, but the records are kind of different. The secretary is keeping records of the meetings, whereas the historian might be keeping records of events and the organization.
Well, why can't
this is just a different perspective.
Keep records of all of it?
Yeah. Let me see. Hold on.
Right. The secretary is going to have maybe the job of summarizing executive officer board meetings because anyone could go and listen to the whole thing for an hour and a half, but it would be nice to have just a summary of the main things that were decided. What do you think?
Well, one of the things that I've found in volunteer organizations is unless there's a super tight fit between the positions where it really makes sense to have one person do it, I would list them as separate positions because the more people you can get involved And the less each individual person has to do, the more likely you are both to get people to volunteer their time and also to not have the organization's continuance depend upon the presence of a particular person. So you don't necessarily want one person in charge of everything having to do with record keeping because it's a lot of responsibility for one person.
Okay.
And do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I understand your point. I just think that we have trouble getting people to volunteer for these positions as it is. So making multiple positions is going to make it even harder to find more volunteers.
Right, but on the flip side, what you can do is you can make the positions separate, and then if we can't get somebody to come on, then you have somebody take on 2 positions that logically fit together.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Because it might be easier to say, all you have to do is this.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's really important to have everybody's role somewhat, you know, not to be overwhelming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
So,
What is the
Can
conclusion
always
here?
do more.
That we
We're
should
going to
have
separate
secretary
secretary and treasurer.
Okay, wait a minute. Secretary and treasurer separate, and
And are we going to
historian.
keep executive director, or are we going to get rid of that position?
yes.
No,
Isn't that you,
I
Kurt?
put that with question marks because, of course, you're important and you exist.
Executive director is good to have. The only thing is that maybe our homework before our next webinar will be to try to define what we want each of these people to do. But kind of my idea of the executive director is somebody who sort of oversees the whole thing, and especially with respect to new people that come in, helps them to get sort of a overview of what each position entails and communicates with everybody. I mean, the fact that we're all communicating together in this webinar is a big step forward and sort of makes it so much easier than it used to be.
I'm back. Connection was lost.
So for now, why don't we say that we have president, vice president, secretary, treasurer. I would suggest changing web designer to like social media director or social media manager, and then historian, who may, in that position, may be subsumed by one of the others just in practical terms, but maybe it gets defined separately.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay. All right. So I had a phone call there that was distracting me. So could you repeat what you just said?
So you have executive director, and then within the other officers, you have president, vice president, secretary, separate treasurer. Rather than web designer, you want to call that something like social media director or social media manager, and then historian.
Okay, I'm making some social media director, or what do you prefer, director or manager?
I'm not sure.
Sure, what would that person be doing?
That's the person who maintains the website, who does the Facebook, those kind of things.
Okay, so social media and then a separate historian. Now, we may or may not have all of these positions filled at any given moment. They're just depending on how many volunteers we have and whatnot. But at least we're going to know what the positions are.
Well,
okay,
yeah, and
so,
if we can define, and that, like you said, that could be something for the next meeting, if we can define the specific responsibilities of each position, we might be able to recruit people because we can say this is exactly what you would need to do.
Yeah. It'll be so much easier, you're right, once we have it defined.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, well then, why don't we think between now and our next meeting, why don't we think about the ideal or our vision of the responsibilities for each of these positions, and try to keep the description as simple as possible.
Yes.
And then we can compare notes next time we get together. When would be a good time for us to have our next webinar? I have my calendar open.
The 24th does not work for me.
24th doesn't work. Okay. So
what about
the 18th? Why not just have it next week?
How about the 17th?
18th. No,
18th?
17th, sorry.
Saturday?
No, sorry, 17th.
17th, okay.
17th is Friday.
17th.
The 17th would work for me.
It works for me.
Okay.
You're welcome with me.
I can do it.
Is there anybody?
I could do that.
Is there
You know
anyone?
what? I can do it right. Can I just say, I have a feeling, Adrian, we have a division meeting at 1, and usually they put the department meeting before that. So I think there's a good chance we'll get a department meeting.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
we can tentatively say yes.
okay, we can tentatively say yes, and also if you have to leave us, Denise, at some point during our webinar, that's perfectly acceptable. I mean, just to contribute as much as you can is a wonderful thing.
Right.
And if you did have to leave for that department meeting, what time would you be leaving for it?
Well, she'll probably make it from 10:30 to 12, and then we'd have, or 10 to, wait, let me check my calendar again. The division meeting is 1 o'clock, so she would probably make it.
So make it from 11 to 12.
I could ask I could ask that she try to make it a little bit earlier.
Well, okay, what time would that probably be?
Let me write to her and see if she has any plans right now.
Okay.
Because if she were to make it, let's see, 11:30 to 1, then we could do like 10 to 11:30.
That would work for me.
I can do all of those.
Me too.
Okay.
Okay, so I will write to her right now. Go ahead.
Okay. Tentatively, why don't we say Friday the 17th, a week from today, from 10 to 11:30, and then you can inform us about your the response you get from your chair.
Perfect.
Would that be fine?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm writing to her right now.
Okay. So that's the tentative idea. I will wait until later on today when I get an email from you, Denise, to finalize the time of it. But once I have that exact time, I will go ahead and reserve the space on the CCC Confer website, and then I'll send you guys an email with the information like I did for this one, and then we can just work when we get together then.
And in the meantime, you'll email us the updated version?
Yes, I will email you what we've done so far as soon as I hang up from this webinar. And yeah, that's a good point. I should definitely email that to you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anything else that I need to do or that we need to do?
Nope, I don't think so, not yet.
Okay, so the idea then would be to go over the officers, go over what our definition of those would be, and would there be anything else? Let's see, anything else you think we should look at? Maybe
I didn't do much of these after that. That was about as far as I'd gotten.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say I misspoke, by the way. We will want to include information about like how often we meet, or at least minimal meetings. We will include that in the Constitution. But one thing people will want to think about is in terms of voting, because that would be nice if we could get that, have all thoughts about that before we come. Are we going to restrict it to people who show up at a conference, that we will have certain, if we have things that need to be voted on, we will do it at the conference, maybe have a short business meeting and that's where voting takes place, or how do you want to work that? That might be something to think about.
Okay, so how about this? How about if we, when we get together next time, we will cover Article 4, officers of the organization, Article 5, meetings, and then Article 6, quorum.
Yeah, I didn't do anything with that. That's still untouched.
I mean, those three are probably going to be enough to occupy us for an hour and a half.
Probably.
And as you guys know,
I think.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. But we do want to include the idea of voting, because really quorum, the whole point of quorum is that there be enough members present to conduct official business.
Yeah.
And in a way, official business has to do with voting. You know what I mean? Like, you can have, we can sit and talk about things, but we can't make any decisions if we've established a quorum that is not present. But in a way, those decisions do constitute voting. You know what I mean?
Okay, so
they kind of go hand in hand, don't they?
So maybe what we should do is change the title of Article 6 to Voting and Quorum.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay, so why don't we limit ourselves to Article 4, 5, and 6 in preparation for our next webinar.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. It's been fun, Lynn. It's been good to get you in with our group here. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Kurt, can I make a request?
Yes.
I will put an announcement on my phone to remind me, but if you send out any announcements, can you do it on Thursday?
Okay.
I don't always check my email Friday morning.
Okay. What time on Thursday would be best? In the AM? PM?
It doesn't matter. Anytime on Thursday, I'll check my email, but on Fridays, I don't usually check my emails, so I didn't get the reminder right away.
Okay. Well, then what I'll do is I'll send out a reminder this coming Thursday about our webinar the following day. And I also need to send everybody immediately the updated PowerPoint document, which is only through Article 3 as far as updating it. And I guess that's about it. We'll be in touch via email between now and then.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody. This has been wonderful, and I hope Dave can join us next time.
Okay.
I hope so. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.